Good evening, everyone. I'll call to order the regular meeting of the Chisholm City Council for February 24th, 2021. Margaret, could you take roll call, please?
Councillor Halverson.
Present.
Councillor Mikalaroha.
Present.
Councillor Fountain.
Here.
Councillor Lance.
Here.
Councillor Vaki.
Here.
Mayor Champa.
Here. Adopt the agenda. Council, there was an item that was tabled at the last meeting. The reason we didn't bring it back is it was more of having AR as a retainer for projects, little projects that might come up throughout the year. We didn't bring it back. If you guys want to bring it back at some point, we have nothing burning that it needed to happen real soon anyway. If you want to talk about it tonight, we can put it back on. If not, I'd accept the agenda with just one minor change, and that would be under Stephanie, number 2, the development agreement with Delta is going to be informational tonight. So I'll entertain either motion to adopt the agenda. If you'd like to bring back that tabled item, we can do that, but it's up to the council.
Mayor, if I may?
Yes, Margaret.
You also want to add the nuisance ordinance.
Yeah, I seen that. I was trying to avoid it.
Thank you.
Who wants that one? Anybody got an idea where we'll put that? Let's put that under Travis, number 3. That started with him anyway.
Mr. Mayor, this is Bill. If I may, Mayor, could I have just a few moments before adjournment?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So, council, I entertain a motion with the one addition and then that small change to adopt the agenda.
I'll make the motion to adopt the agenda.
Okay.
Second.
Marty, was that you?
Yes.
Okay, we have motion and support. Margaret, could you take a vote, please?
Councillor Halverson.
Aye.
Councillor Mikalaroha.
Aye.
Councillor Fountain.
Aye.
Councillor Lance.
Aye.
Councillor Vaki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. Okay, the agenda is adopted. Margaret, before I forget, I'm going to forget. Can you do me a favor? Can you send me off to maybe tomorrow, Marty and Cheyenne's email address? Shoot me a quick email with those two on it, or CCM. I don't know. I've tried to stand out a few things, and for some reason, I got their emails. I got like 2-3 emails from them, and they just keep coming back. So, all right, we'll move on to the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Eileen, I think Chief Brown is in the waiting room.
Okay, so public participation, we have Sarah Carling, Northeast Minnesota Mine Tour Project, and I believe she has some other guests with her. Good evening, Sarah.
Well, hi, you guys. Thanks for having us. As you mentioned, my name is Sarah Carling. I work with an organization called CEDA, which is Community Economic Development Associates, and I have a contract doing community and economic work in Itasca County, supporting about 16 rural communities and doing community or countywide initiatives. Tonight we're here. I've brought myself, Megan Christensen with Visit Grand Rapids, and Beth Pierce with the Iron Range Tourism Bureau to discuss a project that we are working on. It just got started, so I want to be completely transparent with that. So after we've done our presentation, we're going to open it to questions. And I know we have a short time frame and you have a very full agenda, so we're trying to respect that as best as possible. So do I have the rights to be able to screen share? That's my quick question.
I think Eileen would have to make you the administrator. I think she knows how to do that. Eileen?
Yes, hi, Sarah. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Good. I am making you the host.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
And can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Should be a PowerPoint? Perfect.
Yep.
And I will admit people as I do my presentation, if that's okay.
Okay. Yep.
Okay. So as you can see, we're doing the Northeast Minnesota Mine Tour. And with that, I need to make sure I'm on the right screen. Wanted to talk about how we got started. So a lot of the projects that I've been working on within these communities in Itasca County, Can you guys hear that?
Yeah, everybody mute your microphone.
Perfect. Okay. So as I was saying, the way we got started is I was working with these communities to identify projects, and a few things just kind of remained consistent within the communities I was supporting. And it was, they didn't have a reason for people to visit their community. They had a strong sense of history. They didn't know how to display it. And then when asked what was an untapped resource, the mine pits always came up. And so I started taking those ideas and I was like, how do we foster off of the work that's already being done in the communities across the Iron Range, as well as opportunities that are currently identified within these communities that I'm working with? How do we bring all of that together? And so I thought of doing this project. I went to Megan Christensen and I said, do you think there's any legs behind this? Do you think we can get people on board? And she said, absolutely. And so then I went, Megan mentioned that we should bring in Beth Pierce. And so that's how that partnership started to establish. What we're hoping for is that this creates an opportunity for families and individuals to explore our area and really see the unique offerings that each of these communities have to offer. So with that being said, where am I at? This is our partners here that you can see. So again, myself, Megan Christensen, Beth Pierce, Lila Crow with the Itasca Historical Society, Charlie Moore with ARDC, which we'll talk about here in a minute, and then Artie with the Club Mesaba. So the reason we talk about the Club Mesaba or the Mesaba Trail in general is many of the identified locations are also accompanying the Mesaba Trail. So this not only strengthens people that are trying to come into communities, but those that are already using the trail as a recreational opportunity. This strengthens the use of the trail by telling the stories and the history of our mining culture and the reason why these communities exist today. So this is just a quick overview of a little bit of the scope of this project. So to give you an idea, there are 24 communities currently identified as a part of this project. It goes from Crosby Ironton all the way to Silver Bay. So this is just a small scope. If I would have gotten it any zoomed out any further, it would have just looked like one little blue line. Again, 24 communities that are identified. You can see the list here. For you guys, what we've already identified, and this is completely open to discussion, is highlighting the Discovery Center and the Bruce Mine Pit. So with that being said, I want to hand the mic over to Megan Christensen, where she's going to discuss what you guys see here on the screen. And I am going to change my screen over so that I can walk through it while she describes it.
Awesome. Hey guys, I'm Megan Christensen. I am the director of Visit Grand Rapids, and I have done 2 of these interactive mapping projects. The projects were completed in December of 2020. The one you're looking at here is the Edge of the Wilderness Scenic Byway. What we did was the Scenic Byway had a static PDF map, but didn't have an interactive map created. So we created an Esri map that you're looking at here. It has an opening that gives a narrative. There's a video on there, and then it starts up with the discovery sites. So on the 14 discovery sites, she can zoom out and you can see all of the discovery sites. Or when you zoom in, you can highlight on one or a couple of the discovery sites. On the left-hand side, it'll pop up a narrative box. In that narrative box, there will be a picture collage. It'll have 4 dots below, meaning that there's 4 images within that collage. You can slide through each of the collages. Sometimes it'll be a video and sometimes it'll be just an image. The narrative consists of between anywhere of 200 to 300 words. As you can see here, some of the narrative was much smaller. And then at the bottom of that narrative, you click on that little link that says navigate here, and it'll take you to a Google map. Visit Grand Rapids staff created the Google Maps for both the Edge of the Wilderness Scenic Byway and the Grand Rapids Art and History video map. So those were the 2 maps that we created in 2020. We're going to take the same technology and we're going to do the same thing for the mine tour. And I think, Sarah, you said Crosby to Silver Bay and you meant Cohasset to Silver Bay. Yeah, so yes. It's 24 communities and 30 mines. There has not been a map created of all of the northern Minnesota mines. This will give an interactive opportunity for people to zoom in and zoom out For the Mine Tour project, we are allowing up to 10 amenities per community in addition to the mine areas. So the mine areas can be active, inactive, or reclaimed mine areas, and then you can choose up to 10 amenities. So you can see off of the edge of the Wilderness Scenic Byway, you can see number 16. That is not on the byway, but it was an amenity that we wanted to mark. So the Joyce Estates. The other one was the Marcel Research Center. So they're not right on the trail, but we wanted to identify them because they were close enough for when visitors are in the area, they might want to go off the actual route that you designated and go over to see those. Same thing with this mapping project for the mines. There's a lot of amenities that are going to be just off of a regular route that you're going to want to identify them. They could be a historic site. It could be a park. It could be a trailhead. Anything that you deem that you want to highlight on the interactive map. Now, at any time, once we develop the map, it's not a one and done. We can add things to it. We can change and edit the map. It's very easy to be done, and it's very low cost. Visit Grand Rapids has committed that we will keep these maps up to date as things change and evolve. In addition to this mapping, the Google map, can you click on it? Will it let you go there, Sarah?
It should. Just hold on. My internet's a little slow right now.
So the reason that we embedded the Google map is because it gives you driving directions right to that location on your mobile device. So as you're en route, each of the cities are going to identify their mine location that will have a sign, an interpretive sign. On that interpretive sign, it'll have images, it'll have narrative. It might even have like old historic pictures. Then it'll have a QR code. The QR code will go to the Esri map that we just saw. Once they're done reading all of the narrative, it'll pull up this Google map. This Google map will pick where you're from and your location, and you just click the little arrow button with the over arrow. Yep, for driving directions. You can either get walking, driving, or biking directions. So it's pretty user-friendly. That way, as you're en route, vacationing in the area, or you're a person that's from that area and not aware of these different sites in your own community, you can keep getting driving directions from each location. So it's very interpretive, it's very interactive for the user, and it's very user friendly. It's very easy. You scroll through, you click on things. If you have a clickable mobile device, you can click on the screen, or you can just scroll up with your mouse.
Thanks, Meg. Gotta get back to the presentation. All right. So as she mentioned, we're looking to highlight a lot of these different sites, and there will be interpretive signage at each of the locations identified. That's the historical mine site. So that's active, inactive, and reclaimed. The locations that are the amenities, those 10 additional amenities, would not have that interpretive sign. That's a common question that's being asked, but they would be identified within the actual map itself. And, there are a lot of communities within the area that are doing a lot of great projects that are either just starting or are work in progress. And as those finish, those are things that we can also highlight. As Meg mentioned, this is kind of fluid, and we can update these as projects are completed. So with that being said, I think we've already kind of hit on what our goals were, and that's basically to allow people to be able to explore our area while highlighting our history of our reclaimed, active, and inactive mining opportunities. So what we're looking to do, and this is our most recent draft of our budget, it highlights our breakdown of cost. So the Esri map is the map that you just saw a demonstration of as far as the interactiveness of it. ARDC has already provided us a discount because they had a grant available. So this is at half the cost. The videography photography is something that's huge to each of the individual communities. It's amenities. You get both the B-roll footage and the active footage to be able to utilize on your website, social media, however you see fit. So you can also use that for new marketing campaigns or just updating maybe stagnant photos that have been around for a while. The interpretive signs, again, are those 2x3. It's going to have old history photos, maybe new photos, along with the stories that make each of these communities so unique with regards to the mining and just the story of how the community got started. Obviously, there's going to be a large marketing campaign behind this. And then Megan is going to be doing all of the Google mapping, and that's going to be an in-kind donation towards this project. So our estimated cost for our phase one is $102,000 and some change. And overall costs in the second phase to create a total budget of about $169,000. With that, what we've done is we're currently asking all of the communities that will be impacted by this project for a minimum marketing contribution towards this project for each location that they have. So our minimum ask is $1,000 per location identified. As stated, we've identified for you, and again, it's up to you guys, and if you want 10, hey, that's great. But we've identified the Discovery Center in Bruce Mine to have 2 of those interpretive signs. And each sign, I should also add, is going to have a QR code. So if you are not aware that this map exists, and let's say somebody goes to the Discovery Center and they scan that QR code, now they actually are able to investigate and learn more about the community with all the amenities that are identified, as well as all the historical locations identified throughout the Iron Range that we've also identified and put on that map. So our ask today is for a minimum of a $2,000 marketing donation towards this project, and also a letter of support. And those both are going to be used to strengthen our case for larger grant operations and organizations. Like you can see on here, IRRR is going to be one of our first grants that we go after to ask for some matching funds. So with that, I'm going to open this up for some questions, comments, and then we can kind of go from there.
Thank you, Sarah. Mayor Ciampa, let me start. You should, first of all, I love the idea. I want to start there. I think it's great. Obviously, the cost is pretty nice for what we get as a community. Also, what you're asking. You kind of showed how you go through the program and what it'll do and everything. How's like the person when they first show up on the Iron Range find this thing? I mean, you might have said it, but where do they find it?
So people are going to use their Google phones and they're going to say locations near me, things to do. And then because we have the public Google map, that will bring it up in itineraries. So Google is setting their own itineraries for communities. And then we're going to spend some money on the SEO, search engine optimization, to optimize this map to come up when people search the communities in which the map includes.
There's also some partnership opportunities available through like the chamber where people are stopping at local tourist areas to actually know about that information. If they're open to putting, like having us put those QR codes up in those locations, that would be an awesome way for people to have easy access. So when people stop to find more information to do within the area, those are the places that we're gonna wanna hit up so that they have that access point as well. And like Megan said, you know, with the search engine optimization, that's huge right now in the Google world. Everyone's using Google. And if we're not on that page, we're really missing a large opportunity and audience.
Mayor Ciampa, so 85% of Americans have smartphones, and about 80% of us are using our smartphones when we're on vacation. And so our smartphones are used a lot, and Google is the #1 search engine.
Yep.
But the other thing we're going to do is we are going to print some brochures that we are going to have at visitor centers. And it would be nice if we could print a flyer that said tour the mines, right? And then it had a QR code, and those could just be at our visitor centers across this region that we're going to be mapping. So there's multiple ways that they will find it. The other thing is when we have the interpretive sites at the mine locations, the QR code will be on there.
Beautiful. A couple other questions. Updating administrator ? I wrote. Obviously, once this is done, most of it will probably stay the same for a very long time, but there might be additions or subtractions as people change things in their communities. Who does the administration on this thing? Are you guys are? Okay, good. Marketing contribution. Are you going to send us some formal request for a marketing contribution, or have you?
I think I've already sent that to Stephanie if she wants to confirm. I believe I already have a letter of request sent to her, but if I didn't, I can do that this evening.
Okay, and then I think the last question, obviously we have what's called the Museum of Mining in Chisholm, which it's not a mine, but you definitely, it would be one of those little sites you'd want off to the side of it. Is this something we would want to throw the extra $1,000 in, because we certainly want to get them there too? I mean, obviously it's the history of the mining industry, just like the Discovery Center. So we kind of have two of them in town here.
Yeah, I mean, it's completely up to your discretion, but anything that, I mean, this entire project is geared around the history of mining and the story of the communities. So I think, am I lagging? No, okay. I think that, you know, it's completely up to you, but I'm always for the more we can market and promote those areas, the better. So it's completely up to you.
Is there some ongoing cost to this program?
No.
You feel once it's going, it's runs.
Correct.
Pretty
Correct.
much. Okay.
Yep.
Good. Council, anything for Sarah and Megan and Beth?
Good evening, Councilor Lance here. I say that's a great idea. I'm glad that somebody's doing it. That's a very low cost. So I think that we should definitely support this when it comes up. But no, that's great for our communities. So thank you. Good job.
Thanks, guys.
Council, anything else?
Mayor Ciampa, one thing that I would add is that we are looking to we're looking to submit an application for the grant in the middle of March. So if it's not too much to ask, if you can make a decision in your next meeting, so what that'd be maybe in 2 weeks, and have the letter of support, that would be greatly appreciated.
We'll have it to you.
Thank you so much.
Council, anything else before we let the gals go?
Great job, ladies. This is Councilor Vaki. I'll agree with Councilor Lance. And I do think we should also add in the Museum of Mining as well. That's a big location for us, especially right on Main Street. So great job, ladies.
Thank you. So with that being said, if there's 3 locations, the minimum ask would be 3,000, just to be clear.
Right. Yep.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
Yep.
Who do I make host?
Eileen's
Yes, please, Sarah. Thank you.
hey, is Liza on with us? I don't see her here.
She is.
Eileen, you should be host again.
Thank you, Sarah. Nice.
Thanks, guys. Nice meeting you. Bye.
Okay, so next we have lined up, we have Liza Donabauer with DDA Human Resources, and people that are going to help us find a new city administrator. Good evening, Liza.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for having me here. That was an exciting presentation. I love being a part of that.
Nice.
Well, wonderful. Did you want me to dive right in, or would you like?
Yeah, go ahead. I mean, you sent us a lot of information out, so we kind of know what our goal is tonight here. But I mean, if you want to throw a little presentation together at this point, because we kind of got you later on in the meeting, so.
All right. Well, wonderful. Yes. So introduction by way of information that was sent to the entire council last week. We have a couple of action items tonight. So in your packet last week, you would have received a copy of the draft community and position profile, the job description as it was forwarded to our organization, information regarding salary of communities that are comparable in population, and then the timeline, as well as a memo that just kind of outlined some potential interview ideas, and that we can talk about that at that time. So I was hoping to go through the action items step by step, and then collectively you can just give an approval of the changes that we discussed tonight, and that's what I'd be looking forward to as we start our advertising efforts tomorrow.
So Liza, the way we kind of step this up is we put you as an action item later. Were you intending to stay on with us the whole time?
Yes, I was.
Okay, so we'll just skip past you right now. When we get back to you, we'll go through them one at a time then. So we have them laid out as approve the position profile, approve salary range, approve job description, and then talk about the whole dates and stuff for the interview stuff. So
Sounds perfect.
you think that'll cover it all?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so let's move on. Liza can stay on with us. So we'll move on to council reports. I'll start over with Marty tonight. Marty, you got a report? Good evening.
No report.
Thank you, Marty. April, report tonight?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. I just wanted to say happy birthday to Councilor Lance and happy birthday to Attorney Lindsay. And we've got the bulk and recycling notice that came out in our PUC bill. So check that out. It's also on the city's Facebook page, what you can and not recycle. There's some great employment opportunities for our summer rec directors that we're looking for the city of Chisholm, and also police officers that we are also looking for. Polar Bear Days, February 19th through March March 6th. Check out the Chisholm Chamber city Facebook, Chisholm Chamber or Facebook for more event information. Also, there's an online pajama party of the purse on Facebook, supported by United Way of Northeastern Minnesota, featuring our very own Kristen Vaki. Woo! That's all I got. Thank you.
You didn't forget one belated birthday? Are you sure?
Well, I did turn 40 on the 5th. Is it your birthday?
Well, mine's coming up on Saturday, but Katie had one, I think, a couple days.
Yes! Happy belated birthday, Katie!
All right, we'll let you go. What's this pajama party thing? I didn't hear about that. Or what?
Called Power of the Purse.
What's it?
And, it's online, and you can. I'm very sorry about that. It's online, and there's items for auction, and it's supported by United Way of Northeastern Minnesota. There's some great things online, so check it out.
Perfect.
Get a new purse for your wife.
Perfect. Travis, report tonight?
Yeah, I got a few things. Well, happy birthday, everybody. I like getting into the spirit of birthdays. Mine is in April, and I celebrate all month long. So I like this. I like to see the steam rolling already. I like it. All right. Obviously, the number one thing for me is Sled the City. This Saturday, it's my pride and joy for the winter that I get to set this up with Larry. I am happy to say that Little Miss and Little Mr. Chisholm from last year, they didn't get to do a whole lot because of COVID. So they will be the first two to go down the hill on Saturday. So we do have that set up. I am also waiting on to hear from Miss Chisholm and the princesses. But Little Miss and Little Mr. are set to go. A couple other things. The Chisholm Community Foundation is doing a chili feed during Sled the City. It's a $10 cost. It's at Valentini's. They will be selling tickets at the event, and you can also get tickets at Valentini's for that. I was invited to be part of the academic strategic planning team for the Chisholm schools. So I'd like to thank the administration for inviting me to be part of that. They're creating a new vision for the school and what it's going to look like for the next 5 to 10 years. In the agenda today, I'm excited for our new hiree for Larry and his team. I think we got a good one there. And let's see. Miss Chisholm, we are going to do Miss Chisholm this year. Kiwanis did meet. We are going to do that. So that's going to be in April and May. And yes, of course, I said yes to running it. So I'll be in charge of that. One cool thing that we've already set up is that we are going to have the pageant in the amphitheater at the Discovery Center outdoors. So a little bit of a change from the auditorium there, but we felt with COVID, we be a little safer doing it outdoors. And finally, I just want to make a clarification point that as the ambulance liaison, I just wanted to let everyone know that there has been no official meetings that have been held regarding the license that the city holds. The letter in your packet tonight that you'll talk about, or that we'll talk about, is simply the first step in bringing the ambulance service and the city together to talk about a new contract. So that's all I got.
Thank you, Travis. Cheyenne, report tonight?
Just happy birthday to our two people with birthdays, and happy belated birthday to Katie and April, it sounds like. So other than that, no report.
All the cool kids have birthdays in February. Just kidding.
October's where it's at.
Thank you, Cheyenne. Adam, report tonight?
No report. Thank you for the birthday wishes. We're talking about February birthdays. We can't forget Councilor Varda. He's in there too. You know, yeah, like you said, all the cool kids are in February. So thank you all. Nothing else.
11 months worth of people are disagreeing with this right now. But so I don't really have a report. I just thank the council for keeping the city running while I snuck away to Mexico for 9 days. I'm sure you all felt sorry for me while you're freezing in 50 below weather up here. But glad to be back. Seems like everything went pretty well. The one item you guys tabled was kind of a not item anyway. So no big deal. We'll revisit at some point if we need to. So happy to be back. Happy to see Sled the City, I should say. I'm looking forward to getting down there. It'll be my birthday, so maybe I can get third in line. So that's about it. So that's a good event. The people love it. So really looking forward to that. And Travis, you should probably take a couple more jobs. So that's all I got. We'll move on. Unless anybody else got anything that they thought about during those reports. All right, we'll move on to Mandy. Good evening, Mandy. Do you have a report tonight?
Good evening, everybody. No formal report.
Don't say anything for Mandy. Mandy, I'm just curious, things move in the right direction on that super duper, at least as far as you know at this point?
As far as I know, yes.
Okay. All right. We'll move on. Thank you, Mandy. Economic Development Coordinator Stephanie, report tonight. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I do not have a formal report tonight.
Council, anything for Stephanie? Thank you. City Engineer Jim, report tonight. Good evening.
No real report other than I hopefully sent to all of you an email regarding considerations that Larry and I have regarding the site civil plan, and the plans that accompany those are in your mailboxes here at City Hall just for your consideration as we move forward with that project. Otherwise, I have no report. Happy to answer any questions you might have. And my birthday's in June.
Thank you, Jim. Council, anything for our engineer?
I do have one thing.
Go ahead, Travis.
Jim, how are we sitting with our mill and overlay plan?
Trying to get it off the ground. Just getting started on it, Travis.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Jim. Public Works, report tonight.
Evening, everybody. Thanks for the laughs, especially Jim. Thank you. It's just great. I love it. So never a dull moment. Plenty going on in Public Works, like always. You see us around, you see what we're doing. So wave when you do. Anywho, we're helping with Sled the City. We really like this stuff too. So we get excited when it's something different as well. So we're building the sledding hill there next to on 3rd Avenue, next to Burns' office there, and the fire guys. Hopefully they'll after tomorrow we'll have most of the sledding hill done, and we started putting down the fire pit locations and stuff like that. I'm going to work on the final one with Katie. Thursday or Friday, but maybe the fire guys can start to water that down a little bit here and there, just sprinkle some water on it. And it's really warm. Some of the work we've done already is deteriorated, but then it has also, hardened up a little bit too. So that's fun. After that, I'm starting to look a little bit at casual laborers. I'll ask for Margaret to help with that when we get just a hair bit closer to March here, which isn't too terribly far away. And then also hiring the janitor position that we budgeted for, and flags. And I just throw out a quick little bit of information about flags that was worn by at least one vendor today. In research that some of these manufacturers have moved on to bigger and better things, actually smaller things, masks, and that more profitable things in making flags. So we may have a problem getting some flags this year. We don't know yet, but we'll cross that bridge together when I get some things in order. So some of the flags just might not be available, and we may have to do something else, something a little bit different. So if there is a flag expert at home listening, watching, please reach out to me. We need to update the list of the United Nations flags that we do have on the causeway. If you see the sign, if you're heading east on Lake Street going just above the causeway, it says, United States flags on the left. There's an arrow pointing to the left, which is in the north side. And then the south side is United Nations. And the list that we currently have that we've ordered for years, and nobody can give me any information on besides that's just the way we've always done it, is that it's not an accurate list. I just don't see anywhere where this list is actually accurate to the current. Arguably, I believe with a little bit of research I've had time to do, there was 45 actual nations in 1945, I believe it was, or 51, I apologize, 51 in 1945 that formed the United Nations, and now there's 193 nations. So why are we at 56 or 57? Why aren't we at 193, or why aren't we at 51? I just don't know. If anybody can help us at all with any information on the flags on the Bridge of Peace, please reach out to me. Margaret, I know she would take the call and forward it on to me. So any help is appreciated. Google, when you get a little bit further back in history, doesn't do everything. So I appreciate any help from the community. We got our 2 new plow trucks into service. A lot of you have seen this around. Wondering what we're doing. We're out training and playing. Maybe some of you have come down, taken a ride. I always appreciate it. So, and we've had a couple water digs. Thankfully, the 2 that we did have to do were right at the end of the cold snap, getting into that little bit of warmer weather. So we've done 2 water main digs now since the last meeting. And then I have for Attorney Lindsay, maybe when you come up, if we could follow up on the trailer house at the campground, please, if we've started that process. So anything for me?
Council, questions for Larry? Thank you, Larry.
Thanks, everyone.
Fire Chief Chris, report tonight. Good evening.
Yeah, I got a couple things. Good evening, Mayor, Council. Happy birthday, everybody. Seems like everybody had a birthday this month. I'll start with our calls for the year. 18 calls for the year. The last 3.5 weeks, we've had 3 structure fires, 1 in Chisholm. We put a crew in Hibbing last week. And 2 days ago, we had a structure fire in Buell. So we've been busy the last month. On the maintenance side, I just want to bring this up. Engine 1, we found a air leak in one of our valve actuators, and that was found on a Monday maintenance. And I just want to bring it up so the council knows. That's why we have these Monday maintenances, is to catch this kind of stuff before we get on scene or need the truck. But we are able to repair that in-house, which is going to save us about $750. After we tracked it down, the part was $160. So whenever we can, we try to save some money and do the repairs ourselves if the guys are able to. And the Polar Bear Day ride, we're going to put our side-by-side in there. Lieutenant Olson and his wife, Michelle, she's an EMT. They're going to take that on the ride just for PR, and if just in case anybody would need anything, they're there. But we thought it'd be a good way to represent the departments and the city, and just let the public know we're there if they ever need help. And, that's it.
Thank you, Chris. Chris, how do you feel things are going down there now?
I think they're doing very well. I mean, obviously there's been some growing pains, but I think things are going very well. We got, as far as like on our calls, our personnel, we're averaging a couple more per call, which is good. And then, yeah, I mean, morale's good. Everything's going good, you know?
Good. I certainly congratulate you folks on bringing some firefighters forward. I know you've been wanting to have some for a while, so that's good. Council, anything, Chris? Thank you. Library, Katie, report tonight. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. It is Library Legislative Week in Minnesota. And today I had the opportunity to jump on a call with Representative Julie Sandstein and talk a little bit about the library construction grant and the benefits we have seen out of that grant and what it's done for not only our library, but our communities in the area. Our construction is underway for the circulation desk. If you got a chance to check out the Chisholm paper today, we had a picture in there of some progress. So that's moving forward and everything is looking good with that. Other than that, we've got Sud the City this weekend and the library staff is going to be there giving out cookies and hot chocolate and hopefully some free books. And we're just looking forward to mingling with the community. It's been a while and we're excited to see everyone.
Thank you, Katie. Council, questions for Katie? I did better than see it in the newspaper. I stopped in and seen it in person today.
It looks good, doesn't it?
I seen Scott Sassola walk in there, and so I just kind of followed him in the door. So
good.
All right, we'll move on. Thank you, Katie. Police Chief Ern, report tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Chief Matter yields the floor to Attorney Lindsay. I don't have anything.
We got to have Tammy first. Sorry, here. Council, anything for Chief before I let him go? Thank you, Chief. Rec Director Tammy, report tonight.
Just a short report. With this great weather in Sled the City, I cannot guarantee ice for Saturday, but we'll wait and see if Mother Nature will freeze up at night and give us some ice to skate on. Also, I've been trying to do some creative thinking for our summer rec program this summer. And I'm toying around with the idea, just to let you know, that I'm thinking to offer like first through third grade 2 days a week, like on a Monday and Tuesday, and fourth grade and up on Wednesday and Thursday, so we can serve the kids better, making sure things are clean and following guidelines. But with COVID being a moving target, we'll see how things pan out. But with that, that's all I have.
Thank you, Tammy. Council, anything for Rec Director? Thank you. City Attorney Brian, report tonight.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have one item that I want to make the council aware of that I imagine at an upcoming meeting you may see something more formal come through. I was approached by Jerry Sepula from Ironbound. He's indicated that as it relates to that lease space or the formerly leased space in the basement of City Hall, that they've consolidated some of their property down there. And what he'd like to do is he's going to come forward, or I expect we'll see a formal request that he'd like to consolidate it into kind of one of the back areas where the United Way used to be, and then provide the city with a little additional funding. And it sounds like something in the neighborhood of about $1,000 up front, and ask for an extension to hold that property back there until June. And so I'll keep the council informed as that moves forward. Other than that, nothing to report, but I'd be happy to answer any questions the council may have.
Council, questions for the attorney? Thank you, Brian. City Clerk, Treasurer, Administrator. Let's start with Bill first, our short timer, my buddy Bill. How you doing tonight, Bill? Good evening.
Not too bad, Mayor. Mayor, member of the council, just a brief report, just to follow up on what Katie and the mayor talked about regarding, I'll start with the project or the library. I'll start with that one first. And the stub walls are built, and it'll be about 3 weeks for the casework will be in. And Mr. Sasala, as the mayor mentioned, was there today. He gave me an update and said things were going well. And so the library won't be much happening now for about 3 weeks until the casework comes in, but everything is in order there. Regarding the work at City Hall, Mr. Rapucci is making his way through the list. He's been there during the week. He's been there on the weekends. Mr. Sasala stopped in and met with him today. And Mr. Rapucci expects to have everything basically complete by the end of the weekend. And so things are progressing well with the projects at City Hall. With that, Mr. Mayor, I'd be happy to entertain any questions.
Don't say anything for Bill. Somebody have a question? Thank you, Bill. Eileen, good evening. Report tonight.
Good evening, Mayor Champa, members of the council, department heads. Very nice to see everyone. I just have a couple things. It's been a great opportunity to attend a few of the public safety meetings that have been hosted by 5 Bugles. It's been a great opportunity to learn about the building, the structure, the plans associated with that. So I'm really thankful for being a part of that. Really giving me a good perspective about the grandiosity of that whole project. So I'm really appreciative of that. In regard to the execution of city administrator and deputy clerk duties, I've been doing a lot more leaning on the city administrative staff. And I just wanted to recognize Margaret for doing such a wonderful job, as well as the others staff. But Margaret has been providing doing an excellent job of extending her support to me, as well as Bill, Brian, and Vern, who have been exemplary in sharing their perspective and their guidance on some recent issues, which I really appreciate. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Eileen. I just want to say, I appreciate you saying that too, because, doing your job, that was a full-time job already. And then, taking on Bill's job that was full-time and half the weekends, without their help, you'd be ready to, 1 foot on the edge of the cliff there. So I know that when things come up, if there's somebody else that might be better suited, I talk to them. But the biggest thing, we got to make sure, going forward until we place the permanent administrator, that you're in the circle, no matter who's doing it. So we have that. So when we talk about you later tonight, we're going to make sure we reiterate that again. So thank you for everything you're doing. Council, anything for Eileen before we move on? Thank you, Eileen. All right, we'll move on to the consent agenda. These are the listed bills Eileen sent off 4:37 p.m. as a matter of fact. It should be in your email. Communications, which are the Airport Authority minutes, Police Commission minutes, Police Department fourth quarter 2020 report, Public Utilities Commission minutes, Chisholm Community Foundation communication, St. Paul of Minnesota Foundation communication, minutes of the previous city council meeting, the approved minutes, the January 20th, 2021 working session, February 10th, 2021 regular meeting, payroll and overtime. Could I get a motion to accept the consent agenda?
Motion.
Travis? Adam?
Yep.
Discussion, changes, corrections? Margaret?
Sorry about that. Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Mikularaha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Vaki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. Okay, that motion passes. Let's get right into new business. There's a lot of quick little things we should be able to get through. We'll start with Stephanie. Resolution 0221-26, apply and accept FEMA grant funds for fire department. Good evening, Stephanie.
Good evening. Yes, this resolution, I've been working with the fire department for a grant funding for their radios. The grant opportunity came through FEMA. I was able to work with Jason and get the grant finished. So the request is for $118,837.33 for this grant. If there's any questions on it.
No, that's great news.
I'll make a motion.
To make motion to adopt the resolution 0221-26, Adam?
Yes, sir.
Second by Marty, I think. Was that Cheyenne that had a question? I think somebody jumped in, didn't they? No? Marty did second it, right?
Yes.
Okay. Discussion?
Thank you, Steph, for all your help.
Yeah. Money's good. Margaret?
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Mikularaha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Vaki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. Okay, motion passes. Next item that we changed to informational development agreement with Delta. I'll just let Stephanie talk completely about this one.
Yep. Tonight, I just want to update the council on a potential new development that has been kind of in the works. So there is a partnership between Essentia and St. Louis County, which could potentially be one development. And then there is another development, which would potentially be a new daycare. This site would be right next to the Delta Airlines. I've been working with IRRB and the staff at Essentia to move this project forward. What we are looking at doing is creating a development agreement with Delta to acquire the land. That land would come through the city. Then I would work with our partners to create an RFP to go out for a developer for the Essentia County building. Once a developer has been established, then we would give that land to the developer to develop that property. The same would happen with the other potential development of the daycare. That then we would, as a city, we would give that land to that property owner. We are still in the process of moving this forward. I just wanted to give a formal update. Currently, our development agreement is with Delta, and once we have more information on that, we will be able to bring it back to the council as an actionable item.
Thank you, Stephanie. Council, questions on any of that?
Mr. Mayor, I have a question.
Oh, go ahead, April.
So I was reading through the contract and I was trying to understand it. And so you kind of like touched based on a little bit of the information that I really needed to know. And so the land next to Delta, correct, is our city property. So Delta wants to purchase this property from the city. No? Can you explain that?
Yep, it's currently owned by Delta. Okay. And yep, so with the works of IRRR, it's been established that that property would be a good space for this new development. And what's going to happen is we would acquire that land from Delta. So the city would acquire the land from Delta, and then we would turn around and have a developer come in to develop that property. Attorney Lindsay, do you have anything to add to that?
Sure. The one thing that I can add is one of the unique features of the document that was included is that it's because the project is at a fairly early stage, and because the city actually isn't going to be the ones that are going to be personally as an entity developing. So one of the interesting features of that document is that we've created provisions in there which would make it assignable. And so essentially the Chisholm, through our Economic Development Authority, can receive that property, and we can designate that once we've received it, we'll commit it to this project, and we'll work with some other entities or partners that will essentially take it over from us. We'll assign the agreement to them, and then they can move on in a more traditional sense of a development agreement.
Okay, that's good news. I appreciate that. And then in the contract, maybe you guys can help me understand this on page 30 for the purchase price. The CDA shall pay all costs in connection with the recording of the deed, including transfer tax and recording fee. About how much money do you think that would cost the city or Chisholm Economic Development Authority? Would be a low minimal cost?
Mayor, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead, Brian.
Councilor, you're looking at about $51.65.
Beautiful.
That doesn't sound like an about number, does it? That sounds kind of more specific.
Fairly specific.
Mayor, this is just to clarify for April, right across the street from McDonald's is a slice of city-owned property, but then it goes on to the Delta property, and I think the property they're looking at is actually between that city sliver of land and then the building and parking lot of Delta, but it is Delta land.
Thank you, Jim. Okay, so that's informational at this point. We'll move on. If there's nothing else, Council. Thank you, Stephanie. We'll look for that. That sounds like an exciting project there. All right, we'll move on to Larry. Resolution 0221-27, appoint Dylan Miller as heavy equipment operator, truck driver, utility person.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. The hiring committee, Administrator, Deputy Clerk Za, Councilor Vodke, and Senior City Employee Larry Pervenenzi, myself recommend to you the hire of Dylan Miller, pending as formal, hiring requirements, when it comes to the drug and alcohol and pre-employment physical is truly what we're waiting on. It takes about a week to get that information back. I was hoping to hear from Margaret today on that, but I did not. So pending that, we're asking for your approval to hire Dylan Miller.
Council motion to hire Dylan Miller as heavy equipment operator.
Make the motion.
Motion by Councilor Halverson. Second for that?
Support by Cheyenne.
Second by Cheyenne. Council, any further discussion? Margaret?
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Mikola Raha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Vodke.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. Okay, that motion passes. Thank you, Larry. Next item, Baker Tilly water rate study for Hibbing Tack.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks to the hiring committee too, Eileen and that there. Thank you very much. Margaret, did we get everything there? Was the resolution cited the number and stuff? We were good there? I just apologize. Yes. Okay, thank you very much.
You.
And then Council, Mayor, the Baker Tilly study for the Hibbing Tack, very pleased to see that. And I would put a plug out there for Administrator Manny as well, that his numbers, how he comes up with this stuff on the weekends, I don't know, but his numbers were pretty accurate from what Baker Tilly did for us. And you can see, I just gave you some real simple numbers. 6-inch water line, their monthly base charge is $436 thereabouts, plus tax and fee. And then they're estimated 30,000 gallons per day. That's on the low side, so we always want to be conservative on that. And they're estimating that 30,000 gallons per day, 30 days in a month, average month is like 30.4, I believe. And then it's about 900,000 gallons monthly usage at $5 for every 1,000. And it really comes to about $5,000 a month. And that is a wonderful customer that anybody would love to have to help subsidize our system and pay in. So with that, those some simple numbers for you. The document is there for your review. Any questions? Jim Johnson's also quite a bit of knowledge on this. Questions? Otherwise, I would ask for your acceptance of the rate study.
Larry, I just have a question. So basically, we're in accepting this, we're just saying that if Hibbing Tac moves forward with that project and the numbers are pretty similar to what you laid out on the page 38, that's probably the rate we'd be looking at.
Correct. And then, really, before I'm, can share this information for Hibbing Tac so they can really get going on this, I need your blessing that you agree with the study. So you're right.
Council, looking for a motion to accept this study as presented. Dan.
Mr. Mayor, this is Bill.
Yeah, go ahead, Bill.
Just a clarification to your question. On page 43 of the packet, it has, on page 43, it has Baker Tilly's recommended rates based on consumption on the monthly usage. So
okay.
The one that Larry was just talking about is the $5, $5.28.2 worth up to 300,000 gallons per month. And then the rates decrease based on the usage. And so the conversation at the PUC meeting was we couldn't put this many rates in the system. So what Clerk Keeley would need to do is look at the monthly consumption that Hibbing Tac used and then manually enter the rate that would correspond to their usage. So the council, by accepting the rate study, is approving the rates as laid out on page 43 of the document.
Okay, that's fair. Thank you, Bill. Council, question, or if not, looking for a motion to approve the rate study.
Mr. Mayor, I will make the rate study. Oh, second.
A motion made by Councilor Alverson, second by Councilor Vaki. Further discussion? Margaret?
Councilor Alverson.
Aye.
Councilor Mikola Raha.
Aye.
Councilor Fountain.
Aye.
Councilor Lance.
Aye.
Councilor Vaki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you, Larry. Last item, SCH smoke testing results.
So just informational. And what I really want to say is, if anyone wants to have a more in-depth discussion about the smoke testing, please give me a call, and we'd be happy to talk and maybe even talk with some of the people on the ground, like sewer lead Manor and water lead Leon Wagner. I have not had in-depth review of this report yet. This is a downplayed report. The actual report is over 55 pages or something, right around there, and very detailed. Some of the highlights I would just share is remember last year I shared with you that for easy numbers, the city uses about 300,000 gallons a day in water, and during a rain event, we've taken up 3 million gallons of water into our sanitary sewer system. So over 1,000% in just one rain event, one evening. So it lays out over 400 deficiencies in our system. So as we go forward, and we talk about infrastructure and things like that, the deficiencies are just staggering. And I'll come to the council in the future with some tooling and some things that we can do. And then we'll work with Jim Johnson as well. Jim is a plethora of knowledge, as you all know. And Jim has some great ideas as well when it comes to the mill and overlay projects. Things that, where should we do this? Where shouldn't we do this? Where can we? Where can't we really? So this is really just a snapshot, and I won't bore you with any other details besides many, many deficiencies. We know 1,000% into our sanitary sewer over a large rain event. And please get with me for more detailed information. And I can also email you or get you a printed color copy as well of the report. So questions even from comments from Jim as well, if any.
Council, anything?
Mr. Mayor, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Larry, I know that you said to call you for more in-depth details, but the maps and everything that you guys provided, wow, amazing. Like you said, there's a lot of deficiencies in our sewer system. When do you think the PUC will be able to get together with you to come up with a plan and steps in improving our sanitary sewer systems with the red dotted items on the maps?
It's going to be a work in progress. We're still ramping up. With me being there now, just coming on 2 years, and that getting employees where they need to be. I think we'll have a plan within a couple months after we get these spring projects kind of tied up. We're going to do the grinding of the alleys, of course, things like that. We have some immediate concerns we have to do, those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we'll work with Jim Johnson as well on those on some of those outline ones too. I don't have a great answer for you besides I'll continue to come forward with the council. We won't forget about this. It was a great study. The mapping, SEH does really a fantastic job. If you would consider, if you reviewed the 2012 report we had, and then this new report, it's like night and day difference. So it's really great. So we'll bring more toward the council as well. So appreciate that.
Thank you, Larry. Council, anything else for Larry?
I have a question and a comment.
Go ahead, Marty.
Hey, Marty.
Larry and Jim, if you could, I don't know if there's any way to do this, but it'd be nice to get some historical flow rate information in our sanitary sewers. I mean, how far back we can go, I don't know, maybe the MPCA's records that we report. I'd be curious to see over the years what our sewer flow rates have been. And I don't know how far back we can go, if we go back 80s, 90s, 2000s. We've done a lot of street projects, a lot of sewer projects. It'd be nice to see if they've had any impact, meaning have our street projects actually reduced our flows, or are we still dealing with the same flows even though we fixed our streets? That's one question I would have. And then I know there's been other smoke test studies and televising studies, and we should make sure SEH has access to all the historical studies that have been done by them, by others, whoever. And I guess finally the comments or things I noticed in that report. It looks like we've got some high groundwater areas up by the creek on the north end. We know this, and I think I know there's some springs up on 4th Street Northwest. Maybe those are some hot spots that we can target. And seeing that they ignored the Discovery Center brought a question to my mind. Is there any way we can document to the flow we get from Discovery Center? Because, we should either prove or disprove that they're part of the problem. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't, but I don't know if we have any way to monitor their manhole or their force main or however it gets here. But it'd be good to just check that to make sure we're not somehow getting some of their stormwater or something coming. Anyway, those are my comments. Thank you.
Councilor Alverson, I appreciate that. We think a lot alike when I hear your comments. Let me say just a couple of things. I don't want to take up the whole meeting, and please stop down. We can visit too, Marty. Like you say, we could not even get an hour meter reading on the Discovery Center force main on those lift pumps that are pumping over our system. There was basically zero knowledge, if it's employee turnover, if it's employee retention. I don't know exactly. The head maintenance person over there was I would say on a younger age, further than a more of a veteran employee. But we could not even get a meter reader meeting of those motors. You would think that they'd be like a PM thing. They'd be monitoring them if they were going to be at failure time, and there's just absolutely no data at all. So we do need to follow up on that. You're right. And then one of the I shared with the previous council, and maybe you were following at the time, but as you know, we did Lakeview. We did a 100% infrastructure replacement in Lakeview. And Jim Johnson, if you could help me out with the details if I'm a hair bit off, but on an average day, we're taking in 9,000 gallons, about between 9 and 13,000 gallons of sewer. And we were putting out only 7,000 gallons in water. So where's the other? It's double. Even on a brand new infrastructure project, it's double. And that's from the sewer main coming from your house to our main, or your sewer lateral coming from your house to our main. So even when we go do a street project, and I know this is coming up, and that's why I asked Jim to speak about it, that we go through these $3 million projects and we're not even finishing the project totally up to the house. So it's a real tough one, real tough.
This is Jim, and basically Larry and I have put together a policy that I think is being reviewed by the PUC and by Brian, and that's one of the major components of it. Is when we do our infrastructure improvement projects, we're going to require. Right now, we voluntarily ask people to get their sewer televised, their sewer lateral televised, and we do it for free. Whereas normally, when it's just a normal sale, we charge $100. But what it's going to do is require that every home or business, every building within that project is going to be required to have their sewer televised if it hasn't been done within the last 10 years. And then if there's problems in that lateral, it's going to have to be repaired, replaced, lined, whatever, from the main up to the house as part of that project. That's what's being proposed. That'll be coming forward to you, I would think, within the next couple months. Thank you.
Thank you,
and
Jim.
Marty, the other thing with regards to the Discovery Center, I think that, I don't know the exact details, but I think that manhole where Discovery Center empties into or outlets into is right there by McDonald's. And I think the only flows going into that manhole are McDonald's and the Discovery Center. So it's just a matter of probably monitoring just downstream from that. But how do we've got to figure out how to separate flow from McDonald's from that at Discovery Center, I think.
Okay, thanks, Jim. But yeah, I just think it's something we should just confirm to make sure it's not part of a problem.
All right, that item's informational, so we'll move on. We'll keep working on it. Obviously, we have some areas of concern now we're going to have to keep working towards fixing. Thank you, Larry. We'll move on to Adam's items. Adam, first item, appoint firefighters coming from your department.
Yeah, evening. We had 4 applicants come through. First we did the paper screening. We graded all the applicants. We decided to interview all of them. Looked adequate. And then we did in-person interviews, and everyone, really did a really good job. We think we have a good round of 4 here. One thing with the fire service, it almost seems like if you hire 5, you might get 2 that actually stay on. So, we kind of were looking for the 2 that we thought would stay on, but I think we got 4 here that will make a definite impact in our community. They all really seem driven, community orientated. Every one of them just wants to give back. So I think it's a great first step. So do we want to take these one by one? But we're looking for your permission to offer them a job. So we can do the background check, drug and physical, alcohol screening.
I think we can take them as a group. Brian, you have any concerns with that?
Mayor, I have no concerns. Just so long as the motion's identical, we can do them as a group.
Okay.
Well, then I'll make a motion that we approve the hiring of David Chase, Patrick Pope, Eric Olson, and James North for the Chisholm Voluntary Fire Department.
Pending successful completion of a background check, physical, and drug alcohol screening.
Pending all those things.
Is there a second for Adam's motion?
Second.
Seconded by April. Adam, just a quick question. What's your, obviously I should know this, but I'm going to ask just for my benefit, but to anybody listening as well. Where is our area of draw when we're looking for firefighters? How far do we reach out?
our service area. So we go all the way into Balkan. Chief, do we go any further? Do we go to unorganized ground?
There.
Yeah, Chief.
Service area, basically.
I think so.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion to support to hire these 4 new firefighters. Council, further discussion? Margaret?
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Mikola Raha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Baki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. Okay, the motion passes. This next item, it's kind of two-part here. We have a letter. Let me get to it. Hang tight. So we have a letter from Longyear Incorporated, and Councilor Lance wanted to kick some ideas around about the public safety building. And I said, well, you know, since we're going to just kind of shoot the breeze, maybe we can put together a working session. Adam, is that kind of the line we're going?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I definitely believe that we need to talk with Longyear. I believe we need to talk with each other. And I think we need to discuss the future of Chisholm and which way we're going to head. So I would love to schedule a working session so we can sit down and go over something.
Council, we have a time in mind we could do that next week off.
Wednesdays are best for me.
Okay, somebody want to make a motion in a working session? Same
Make a
time
motion.
on the 3rd?
Wednesday, that's March 3rd at 5:30.
Yeah.
I'll make the motion.
Second for it?
Support.
Further discussion? Margaret?
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Mikola Raha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Baki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. Okay, that motion carries. All right, thank you, Adam. We'll move on to Travis. Declare citywide festival for SLED, the city event.
All right. First of all, thank you to Councilor Lance. He refreshed my memory last meeting and brought up the fact that I didn't include a community festival as part of the SLED the city. So we did it last year. Worked out fine, worked out well. Just hopeful that you guys would want to allow that again this year. As it says in my little blurb, the CDC guidelines are still required, mask wear and all that fun stuff. But I would like to ask for your support to make it a community festival.
I have a question for Councilor Vaki.
Go ahead, April.
Councilor Vaki, what is the difference between having it as a community festival or just putting it on by the city or the Kiwanis? Can you explain that to me?
I can. The difference is that if somebody wants to have a drink with them, they can do that in a community festival. So if they go to Tom and Jerry's, you know, they can get a plastic cup and come out and watch the people sled. At the end of the day, I think that's the biggest. Brian, if I'm wrong, correct me, but I think that's the biggest reason for it.
He's not going to correct you. So yeah, that's my understanding. I like the idea also because it allows people to mingle and they spread out a little bit too. So they'll move around a little bit and everybody won't be just hanging around this slide all day. Give us a little bit more room to move. So
Travis, was that a motion?
Sure. I will make a motion to make Sled the City on February 27th a community festival.
Support.
Okay, we have motion support. Council, further discussion. I don't know if I can even vote for it. That's my birthday. I'd feel like I was doing something wrong. Margaret?
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Mikala Raha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Vaki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. Okay, that motion carries. Resolution number 0221-28, accept donation from Chisholm Kiwanis Club, page 67 and 68.
All right. Thank you all for that community festival. I actually didn't even know this was under me until I got the agenda. But Larry, correct me if I'm wrong. This is a reimbursement for LED bulbs that were used to fix the figurines in Kiwanis Park.
You are correct.
Okay.
It's just old condensed light lighting down there, and we offered to help out and relight some of those structures for them. So, yep, you're right.
Okay, so then my motion, I guess, would be to accept the reimbursement of $293 for those lights.
Second. That's
Thank
awesome.
you, Travis, second by April. Further discussion? Yeah, it's always nice when we work together on this stuff. I think I said money is good already once tonight. Any other discussion, Council? Margaret?
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Mikala Raha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Vaki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. That motion passes. All right, the item I put under Travis earlier, the nuisance ordinance
Oh, man.
has returned.
Here I thought I was getting off good. All right. Okay, you want me to just jump in, or are you going to talk first?
Oh, go ahead, jump in.
Okay, so it's been what, 4 months since we started talking about the nuisance ordinance. I'm just going to reiterate what I said at the very first council meeting when we talked about this. This is certainly not a everybody wins type of thing. Everyone has a different opinion on what it should be, but I do think with what we have in here and the allowable permitted use permit, I think it's the best we can do at this point. So with that being said, I'll let everybody else hop in on their positions, I guess.
Let me, before anybody else chimes in, Brian, you help me a little bit. We haven't actually had a first reading, right? We've been just kicking this thing. We kicked it to the planning, they kicked to us, we kicked it to you kicked it to us. But we actually haven't had a reading yet, have we?
You're correct, Mayor.
Okay, so this would be a first reading and a last chance to change it the next time we see it after tonight. If we passed it tonight, would be a up or down vote, which would then make it an ordinance or no change to the current ordinance, I think would be correct, right, Brian?
That's correct, Mayor. If it's treated as a first reading tonight, then there would be no allowable changes between this first reading and the second reading if we wanted to pass it. If there were any changes between the two, we would revert back to an introduction and first reading.
Council, how do we feel about this? Making it a first reading and moving it on. I will tell you, I ran into our new planning and zoning person that said I should send it back to him, but I'm quite frankly, I think it, as Travis mentioned, if we're going to do something with it, it's about as close as we can get right now. So. If not, I mean, I'd be looking for a motion to accept this as a first reading as presented. If not, we'll move on and it'll die before us. And they are as it was.
Well, let me say this. The way the current ordinance reads, there's no way for there to be any enforcement on it, in my opinion. As far as I'm concerned, it should be shredded and Vern should never have to deal with it. the current one. This one at least allows Vern to say, hey, you're over the limit. So because of that, I think it should at least go to a vote. So I will make a motion that we consider this the first reading for ordinance 94.05.
Second.
All right. Thank you, Travis. Thank you, April. Further discussion, council? All right, take a vote. Margaret?
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Nicola Raha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
No.
Counselor Vaki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. That motion passes. We'll bring it back for a second reading, and if it passes next week, it'll become amended ordinance after posting in the papers and all that fancy stuff. So that motion passes. Thank you, Travis. All right, you're done. We'll move on to Bill. Good evening, Bill. ASME contract memorandum of understanding for the probationary period.
Mr. Mayor, councilors, this is something that has been discussed for a while. You can see in my memo there that the current ASME collective bargaining agreement, employees have to complete 120 shifts. They start at 80% of the scale. They work 120 shifts, or basically 6 months. Upon completion of that, then they go to 90% of the scale for a year, and then they go to 100% of whatever applicable pay scale they're in or job classification per the contract. This would be a MOU, or a memorandum of understanding to the contract. It was drafted by Attorney Lindsay, that would put the city in a more competitive situation when it comes to hiring employees. We will have some turnover in coming up. There are some people that are going to be retiring in the next few years. And so what the memorandum of understanding does is it changes the probationary period in the contract to employees would start at 90% of their applicable job classification pay scale for 6 months. Upon successful completion of the probationary period, then they would move to 100% of the scale. I feel that in the past, this has cost us some qualified employees that did not come to work at the city, as I was on some of the hiring committees, because the pay, it was just too much of a difference in pay. And so with that, I would recommend passage of the memorandum of understanding, which the union is also in agreement with this, as is our ASME negotiating committee. I recommend passage and be happy to entertain any questions.
I think this is great. I'd like to make that motion of memorandum of understanding.
Thank you, April. Is there a second for April's motion?
Support.
Support.
Support by Councilor Lance. Further discussion?
Hey, thanks for doing this, Bill. It's a no-brainer. It's by far a win-win for us. So thank you for handling this.
Yeah,
You're
it's
welcome, Councilor.
very good thing. All right.
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Nicola Raha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Vaki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. And that motion passes. Bill, you're just knocking your list off. You're going to get out of here by the 28th, aren't you?
Oh,
All right.
actually the first, but
All right.
so the next item, I have to thank Chief Manor. Basically, what you see in front of you has been compiled by Chief Manor. I know very little about the emergency management and the coordinator and the job description. So the work you see in front of you is the work of Police Chief Manor. I reached out to him because he knows way more than I do. Just to refresh everybody's memory, that The plan with a new emergency management coordinator was to come up with a job description and then post the position internally. So tonight, what you have in front of you is a job description that Chief Manor drafted based on his understanding of what the job description should be. Plus, he provided some additional information regarding the position. So tonight, I guess, as I mentioned in my memo, you could take this a couple different ways. It could be an action item if the council wanted to approve the job description as written. If there's questions, concerns, comments, if the job description needs some revisions, it can become informational. And I would recommend working through Chief Manor going forward to come up with a job description. The job description is approved, then a course of action could be determined on how to post the position. That, Mr. Mayor, I'd be happy to entertain any questions, and I'd ask for Vern's help. It's something I can't answer.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question.
Go ahead, April.
I'd feedback here. I would like to expand that job opportunity to the fire department and also the ambulance department if possible. And I'd also like to ask Chief or Bill, what would be the rate of pay? It wasn't in the job description. Beautifully done, by the way, Chief.
April, I got a little feedback too. Right now, it's open to anybody actually that wants to apply for it. And I think we just opened it citywide, but that's up to the council. The rate of pay hasn't been established, I believe, because we really haven't established the hours that would be worked. In past, it's just been like a casual position.
April, I'm going to try to answer that rate of pay thing a little bit. And I'm going to use Chris Masucci to do it, our fire chief, because we had this discussion. I think it was like 150 a month and 50 for the assistant, the way we figured it to be. Does that sound right? Or 200 or something? Do you recall, Chris or Vern?
I believe Chief Brown was getting 300 for that position.
And then Larry had been getting 50. Larry's doing 300 right now. Is that correct? Does that sound right?
Sounds right.
Okay.
If I may, I believe Larry's getting 150. But I'll look into it.
Yeah, Larry was appointed when Bob Brown resigned. Larry was appointed the coordinator, so I think he got a bump in the time being. But the assistant or vice was getting 150. If my memory serves me.
150 and 50 now. And I think we felt that the rest of the money, the other 150, was actually for a different portion of what Chief Brown was doing. And that kind of shifted to the new fire chief, I think. Didn't it, Chris? That sound right?
Yeah, I believe so.
And then we landed on the 150 and 50. So, council, I don't know what we want to do here. I'm okay with if we wanted to internally post this, see if anybody wants to take it. They would bump Larry back in. I think he'd be okay with staying as the assistant. So if we want to post his position, I'd be okay with it. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor,
to approve the job description and post internally.
Mayor, if I could add, I'm not sure Larry Pervenanzi is willing to stay on, frankly. You may want to check on that first before you say that, because he is planned to retire right after the first of the year, and I do not believe he's interested anymore in that position.
Okay. Well, and we'll take that one up if we need to. So if the council wants to move forward, a couple of, who would sit on this hiring committee here? Then we probably, I think, should go on. Could somebody shut off their mic, please? Thank you. I think that's Chiefs. who do you think would be good people to sit on this hiring committee for this? Anybody got an opinion?
I think both chiefs.
Both chiefs?
Both chiefs and city administrator or acting.
And a council person? Let's make a motion first to have our two chiefs on the hiring committee. Who wants to serve as council person? I'll do it if nobody else wants to. And we'll have Eileen be part.
Motion to put both our chiefs and Mayor Champa on the hiring committee.
How about the administrator, acting administrator Eileen, and how about Larry as well?
Eileen and Larry
is our interim. Okay.
As our committee.
Happy to serve, Mayor.
What's that, Eileen?
I'm happy to serve.
Beautiful. All right, is there a second for Adam's motion to have our two chiefs, myself, Eileen, and Larry Pervenanzi serve on the hiring committee?
Second.
Second by April. Further discussion? Margaret?
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Nicolaraha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Baki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. Okay, that motion passes. So then we need a motion to post this internally. I think we had a motion, but give them to me again, whoever made the motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the job description as it states and post internally, including the fire department.
And
I'm not gonna do the ambulance because they're not city employees technically. I wouldn't consider them internal.
Yeah, if we do an internal posting, I don't know that we do that. Oh.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that. That's a privately owned thing, so.
Okay.
All right, is there a second for Adam's motion to post internally then with our current staff?
Second.
Seconded by Marty. Further discussion? Margaret?
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Nicolaraha. Counselor Fountain.
Nay.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Baki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. Okay, that motion passes. Thank you. Bill, policy for repair sanitary sewer lateral on Lake Street, West Lake Street.
Mr. Mayor, Councilor, just a little brief history. This policy was originally drafted by our engineer, Jim Johnson. It went to the Public Utilities Commission for their approval. The Public Utilities Commission directed me to take the document to Attorney Lindsay. After they made, the PUC Commission made an adjustment regarding item 8 on page 77 of the packet, which is the sunset of the city considering any possible financial reimbursement for the sewer work on West Lake Street that was done way back in the years 2000 and 2001. And so Attorney Lindsay had some recommended changes. So therefore, I brought the document back to the PUC Commission at their last meeting. And the PUC Commission approved the document on page 77. And therefore, I'm bringing it forward from the PUC Commission to the City Council, recommending approval of the document from the PUC Commission, which basically lays out how the terms and conditions for the city to consider any reimbursements and for the sewer work that was done back in 2000, 2021. And as I mentioned previously on item 8, if the city is in agreement that there should be some type of reimbursement, that the amount of reimbursement declines over the next 3 years and sunsets in 2024. That, Mr. Mayor, I'd be happy to entertain any questions.
Council, the Public Utilities Committee, it's time to sunset this. That project's a long time ago now, and I would recommend that we approve this sunset agreement on that project. But I'll open it for discussion.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Adam.
I just, so are we gonna have anybody rushing to go check out their sewer lateral and have this fixed and have the city pay 75% of it? Or does there need to be wording in there that they have to have existing issues with it? I mean, otherwise I support that absolutely 100%, but I just don't want, a bunch of businesses to run out and think we're gonna help do their sewer lateral.
My guess is you might have some, if people are having some ongoing issues we haven't heard about, we might hear about them. I think that's a real concern, but I don't think that change, I think we got to sunset it. So.
In Councilor Lance, there are in the document there are the stipulations for reimbursement, of which number 7 states that whether the city provides any financial assistance or not, a plumbing permit shall be obtained from the city building official before the work repair work commences. So it will be investigated, brought to the city for approval before any work was done. But I would think that if something was going to happen, it would have happened by now. In reality, the city is being kind because the statute of limitations has run out on this, and so the city is being kind, and if anything were to come up over the next few years, but it's basically informing people that this is going to go away in the next few years.
Then I'll make a motion to approve the update of the policy repair for the sanitary sewer lateral lines along West Lake Street between Central Avenue and 3rd Avenue West.
Well, second.
Okay, we have motion and support, but I have a concern. The project went all the way to 4th Avenue West. Don't we have a concern there? I just, as you said that, 4th was done at the same time. It was done by a different contractor. 3rd to 4th Avenue was done by USA Utility Systems. I think either Euland or Joel and Sock did the bottom 3, but should that be extended to 4th?
Jim, do you know if there was a problem with the pipe sizing on those in between 3rd and 4th?
I'm not aware, and if they were separate contractors, I think the plans and specs were done by different companies, and I don't think there's an issue between 3rd and 4th that I'm aware of. And I don't think that problem occurred on the contract from beyond 3rd going to the west.
I can amend my motion if you think that's appropriate.
I could tell you I was the mayor back then, and the 4th was done it was a different contract, but it was done the same time. I think we did.
And my motion to include up to 4th Avenue West.
Okay. Is there a second for Adam's motion?
Second.
Second by Marty. Further discussion? Margaret?
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Mikola Raha.
Aye.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Vaki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. Okay, that motion passes. Local Board of Appeals and Equalization. Bill, before I turn it over to you, Margaret and Bill, we need to, before you leave, we need to make sure we know how to get some other counselors where we get the information and get the rest of us trained. So make sure we know, and then maybe we can get it out to the council or something. Because Like I said, Marty's going to expire here. Maybe he'll renew, but later this year, and I'm the following year. So it's kind of a neat thing, and we need 2 of us, so it's good to have 3. So we should maybe look at trying to get somebody, 1 or 2 people, maybe to do that before we even have this. But local board of appeals and equalization, it's pretty straightforward. This is where the people come and dispute their property valuation. I think that's correct. And we hold a public meeting. Looks like a lot of them are being held via type of Zoom type of thing with written appeals only. They're looking at a date of April 20th, 4 to 5 p.m. Get that on my calendar real quick. So that would be on a Tuesday night. Bill, you got anything to add to that?
Oh, just Mr. Mayor, the county sets these meeting dates and nothing to add to that portion of it. The only thing would be to hold a meeting, because that needs to go on to when the county sends out people's proposed or their tax statements. The how or where the meeting is going to be held needs to be on that statement. So I think a decision needs to be made on how the meeting will be held. Last year, if I recall, it was held via Zoom, and the people that had appeals were able to join the meeting that way, or written appeals were also accepted. The people from the county last year would not come to meet in person with the coronavirus. I'm assuming that's the same thing this year. So I'm assuming the meeting would be pretty similar to the way it was held last year, being it's only less than 2 months out now. So that would be a decision that the council should make tonight, is how the meeting will be held so that the county can be informed.
So council, I'd look for to hold the meeting on that April 20th, 4 to 5 p.m. and hold it via Zoom so we can notify the county. Would that be correct, though?
That would be correct, Mayor.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, April. Second for that.
Support.
Motion by Councilor Fountain, second by Councilor Baki for discussion.
Mr. Mayor, I will do the training if you need someone.
Okay. We'll pull together the information, try to get it out to everybody. If I recall, it was like, I don't remember. It was like you went online for an hour or something, took a little training course, and they certify you, and that's all you get. So pretty basic. And if you get the wrong answers when you're going through it, they start over. You have to go in. They say wrong, and they make you go through the chapter again. Further discussion? If not, I'll have Margaret take a vote.
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Mikuláraha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Baki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. That motion carries. Council, next item is informational. Basically, we're getting a lot of requests to open a senior center. I know we don't always want to take our attorney's advice, but I mean, at this point, he's saying that we don't really have the stuff in place to allow that to be open for our seniors. So unless we want to go against that, the only thing I could suggest is we maybe visit this once a month and see how things are going.
Mr. Mayor, that was the intent. I asked for Attorney Lindsay's recommendation because since the coronavirus, been getting numerous calls from seniors. We know the pandemic's been difficult on all of us, and the seniors are no exception. And so I look for an updated opinion from Attorney Lindsay, which is in your packet. And what you just mentioned was his recommendation that maybe this be reviewed every 30 days.
Brian, I just have a question. You know, obviously, I get backed into a corner on this thing quite a bit too, because I've been living around here for 50 years and know everybody. But what do you think the sunset is going to be? Are we gonna finally accept the COVID plan from them and have to say, well, all right, let's try it? Is that what you're thinking? They're going to have to prove to us that they're keeping the numbers down, the number of occupants down, they're cleaning, they're keeping people separate, and things have to get a little bit better in the whole, with vaccines and everything. I mean, is that probably where we're going to be able to start having the talk?
I think it is, Mayor. I think a big part of it, we have received in the past a plan from them, but the plan didn't include a lot of detail. And so a couple of things that I really considered in issuing my opinion on this topic is that we need a more detailed plan that really gets some information out about how cleaning and sanitization and things are going to happen. The other complicating factor is at this point, we've okayed a plan for the senior center to be used for vaccinations, which means we've got a number of people traveling through there. And I think that keeps the risk a little bit higher. But I think those things are both kind of fluid. And as the vaccine starts becoming more prevalent, and especially amongst the folks, the primary users of that facility, I think the opinion can change fairly quickly. And that's why I recommend that we revisit it regularly so that we can kind of keep an eye on that. Because as you'd indicated, this is a tough thing, and isolation among seniors is a big problem, a big issue that's come up, and we don't want to hold them out any longer than we have to.
All right, thank you, Brian. Council, if there's nothing else on that, we'll move on. I'll give you a minute to chime in if you want to say anything.
Yeah, I would just, I think we need to work at getting that open forum. I understand, we have to be cautious, but they're cautious also. They can go down to Valentini's and sit around a table and have coffee. I don't see why they can't use the senior center and go down and sit and have coffee. It's for them. We take everybody else's C-19 plan. We assume they're all following it. So I don't see why it would be any different for, the folks that want to use the senior center. So I hope on our next reevaluation that we have some kind of process for them to follow to open it back up.
Mayor, if I may add a statement there, Mayor Ciampa, several seniors have also reached out to me, and I would volunteer and write the COVID plan for the reopening as well, if they so choose to have me.
So what is, somebody help me with this. I'm not in the loop. I know what's going on, but what is if the vaccines are readily available for Casey's, what's their schedule at the senior center? Who knows that answer? Are they there every day or a couple of days a week? Anybody can tell me?
Go ahead, Bill.
When Casey's approached and asked to use the senior center, and their COVID plan went to Attorney Lindsay, and as interviews, as city department heads are using the senior center, I reached out to Margaret, and this I think happened when you were on vacation, to keep a calendar or reservation for the senior center. So Casey's, they're contacting Margaret to get on the calendar. Margaret's the master of the calendar for the senior center. Okay. So Margaret could better answer. I think they're scheduled, the last time I looked on the calendar, I think they're scheduled like one day a week. Is that correct, Margaret?
Thursday and Friday.
Okay. It's just good to know, because like you said, you can sense that the council's starting to lean towards trying to figure out how we can open it, and we have to keep them in there, because we want to do that for the seniors too. So all right. So we'll move on at this point. We'll review it here in a month from now or whatever, and we'll see how it goes.
Don't forget about opening up City Hall at some point and having a live council meeting.
I'd love to. Yeah. We're still trying to get our technology stuff finished up in there so that we can do that. Our project's just getting done. So hopefully very short, we're back in there some form or fashion. So These things are interesting, although they only allow one person to talk at a time, so it's kind of nice. All right, Bill, thank you very much. We'll move on. Here's the next one I hate doing every time, but I guess as long as we're under a state of emergency in the state of Minnesota, there's no harm in us continuing in extending our local emergency. Let me get to the right page here. Give me a minute. Talking too much and not doing enough with the rest. So we're looking at extending a local emergency to March 17th, 2020, unless subsequent action by the governor canceling the Minnesota state of emergency. So I'd entertain a motion to adopt resolution 0221-29 to extend our local emergency.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Is there a second for that?
Support. But then we also have to revisit this on the 10th because that's going to be in between our two council meetings. Unless we just want to make it to the 24th of March.
Oh, that's not the right date. It would be the 10th. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. It would be the 10th we'd want to extend it to, wouldn't it?
I'll amend my
Anybody else?
motion to extend it to the 10th.
Yeah, because that'd be our next council meeting, and I think, yeah, let's do that, April. Thank you. Is there amended? Who made the second?
Amend my second.
Okay, so we're going to change that to the 10th. So it's at our next council meeting. I think that'll be right. Further discussion? Thank you for fixing that, Adam, because it would have ended up in between meetings. Margaret?
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Mikala Raha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Vaki. Mayor Champa.
Aye. Okay, that motion passes. Give me 1 second to get on board here. Okay, council. So next item, resolution 0221-30, appoint interim administrator. As we're all aware, Bill will be retiring March 1st. It'll be his last day. For the sake of the additional wages and stuff, and it is recommended by the city attorney that we actually do a real resolution appointing Eileen as our interim city clerk, treasurer, administrator in his absence. So she's actually has the proper title while we're working on getting a new administrator. So it was kind of an interesting discussion. I talked to Margaret. I said, so has anybody talked to Eileen about this yet? And she says, geez, I don't know. So I went and talked to Eileen, and we all know Eileen. She's a wonderful human being. And she says, Mayor, whatever I can do for you, I'll do it. I'm here to serve you. And so she's happy to serve as our interim city clerk, treasurer, administrator until we put our fill that position. So I'd entertain a motion to make that appointment.
I'll make that appointment for resolution 0221-30.
Okay, is there a second? I heard one. Who was that, Marty?
Support by Cheyenne.
Support by Cheyenne. Council, any other discussion, or Eileen? Okay. Margaret?
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Mikala Raha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Vaki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. Okay, that motion passes. Okay, this next item, temporary interim administrator. Let me just get you up to speed. I don't know how much you know about this, but Eileen is going to be gone on the 26th tomorrow. No, Friday. And I asked Bill, since he's still on the payroll and he's still he's still on a payroll. If even though he's not in town, if he would serve as our administrator for phone calls and stuff that day. So I'm not real concerned about February 26th. However, Eileen also has 2 scheduled days. She's going to be gone March 1st and March 2nd, I believe are the 2 correct days. And Bill will be off. Bill will be around Monday, but it's his last day, and I would prefer to not have him do that on that day. So my thoughts were, and we've used him in the past, and he's kind of positioned somewhat with being one of our senior appointed officials. My thought would be to appoint Chief Manor to be our interim temporary interim administrator for those 2 days that Eileen will be gone. And with that, there's like $100 a day adjustment that comes with that upgrade, I think it is. And I would recommend we do that as well for Chief Manor. So, and I also spoke to him, and he said he would do it as well. So that'd be my recommendation. Unless somebody else has a better idea.
Great idea. I'll make that motion for Mr. Chief Manor.
Okay, thank you, April.
Second.
Second by Councilor Halverson. Further discussion?
Make sure you guys get the parking tickets when you're in charge.
He gets to do everything that day, eh? All right.
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Michelaraha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Vaki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. Okay, that motion carries. All right, Council, we're back to Liza. I wish I had looked at the agenda a little bit better and kind of thought a little bit more about how we were going to do this, because she's waited a long time to get back to this. So Liza, before I bring you back on here, the way we have it set up on our agenda is to review and approve the position profile as our first item. Then as a second item, review and approve salary range for the city clerk, treasurer, administrator. Third item is review and approve job description, city clerk, treasurer, administrator. And then the final item was to determine date, final review, city clerk, treasurer, administrator. So I'll kind of look to you, just kind of hold our hand and walk us through this process and kind of tell us what you're hoping to do on each of these items. And we'll go from there if we could.
That. Well, thank you, Mayor Champa and members of the council for having me here. As I mentioned, we're really excited just to move you one step closer to finding your next administrator, clerk, treasurer. So the first item of business is to review the proposed community and position profile. So you received a copy of that last week. I also had Stephanie forward this to the leadership team to review and provide feedback on any proposed changes or corrections, anything from use of verbiage to grammar to in sky was the limit here. So I'm looking to you. I just want to make sure that this is an accurate reflection of the community in your organization, because this document will be what we'll be using as part of our advertising. I can kind of walk you through some of the proposed staff changes if you like. Otherwise, I can wait until the end, till after your changes. And as I promised, I brought my red pen today, so I'm ready to make those changes.
Council, thoughts? Did anybody forward any changes? I don't know. Go ahead, Adam.
I wasn't about to tell them how to do their job.
Yeah, I hear you.
Well, to get the ball rolling.
Little about this whole process. So, I looked through the brochure you had on what you're going to do there. I like that. I think our job description covers well enough. But yeah, I would really be looking to you guys to tell me what you think, I guess.
Sure. And just to share with you some of the feedback I received from staff, as far as use of language on the page that's Untitled the organization. There is just a proposed change to paragraph number 2 to maybe just formalize the language there a little bit. It moves from very business-like language, and then we gushed about how wonderful the team was and how supportive the council is of its staff. So we'll try to formalize that language just a little bit. Also on the page of desired attributes, so near the end of your packet, desired attributes and projects and goals. These are my 2 favorite pages because these are the words that would have come directly from your mouths as well as your leadership team. So yes, the job description does a nice job encapsulating the duties and responsibilities of the position, but then you'll find on the page of desired attributes, those are the things that you think those are the desirable characteristics that you feel are important in order for the next administrator to be a good fit here. So there is just some proposed language changes here, again, to just kind of formalize it or just make it more succinct or more in tune with some of the things that were shared with me. So for instance, the second to the last bullet point, instead of has tough skin, potentially changing that to is tenacious and has the ability to de-escalate a tense situation. 3 bullets above that where we talk about the desires to have a calm, confident, humble leader, changing the last portion of the sentence, the second sentence, which would, instead of saying hold staff accountable, perhaps we change that wording to say models accountability, so that not only is the administrator held to the same accountability standards as one would require of their own staff. The working our way up the document, the 5th bullet, I believe it is, where it says is a good listener and asks appropriate questions, formalizing that to just say is a good listener, cultivates trust, and operates with an open door policy. So those are some of those proposed language changes that we'll be making. Any feedback there before I move on to the next page?
Oh, I'm good with that.
All right. Under your page projects and goals, again, these are the items that you all shared with me. So in the second column, about 3/4 of the way down, there's a bullet point that says be the face of the community and help the local business community get ready for the Redhead Trail. There was some idea that maybe we should further discuss the importance of this administrator supporting local businesses with I think I may need some help on this one, but I think the proposed sentence at the end of this bullet would be to continuously gauge the importance of supporting local businesses with the rollout of the all-season trail and park.
I think this is Councilor Vaki. I think we should actually say Redhead.
Okay.
Because that is our trail, the name of our trail, and I mean that is what they would be working for. I don't mind including all however whatever that, right. I don't mind using that, but I do think we need to include the name.
Okay, wonderful. So those were the good majority of the changes that were presented to me. I also just want to let you know that the core duties of the position, that page, that is a copy and paste of the job description. So any changes that we make on the job description tonight, I just want you to know that that would be copy and pasted onto this page. So they would be a matching document.
Yeah, I'm okay with the job description.
Yeah, I don't have any problems with it. This is fantastic. This is great work. I think you did a fantastic job of talking about our community, the needs, the wants. I'm very impressed. So thank you for doing that.
Mr. Mayor, if I could.
Yes, Stephanie.
Liza, I just want to mention that the Essentia clinic that you have in the packet is no longer open. So that will have to be changed.
Okay.
Stephanie, I thought about that today. I was looking at it and I thought that same exact thing. And the reason I didn't bring it up is I was thinking, you're trying to build me a new one. And then it sort of is okay. So I wasn't sure I wanted to take that out because we're trying to build at least somewhat of a clinic there. Again, with the
anticipating.
So that's why I didn't bring it up. I was laughing about that. When I looked at it earlier, I thought the same thing. And I said, maybe we can leave it in. So.
Mayor, this is Eileen. I have a couple comments, if I may.
Yes, absolutely, Eileen.
First of all, I want to thank Liza for incorporating a lot of those changes I suggested. Thank you very much. Appreciate you taking them into consideration. One of the things a couple things that I feel is really important as part of the job description is that maybe we refer under minimum qualifications to having candidates with not required but preferred master's degree. I think that'll yield a much different group of candidates. And one other thing too that Tammy brought up was that there really isn't any language that talks about human resource capability, which is really important for this role. So I just wanted to bring those two items up. Thank you.
Yeah, Eileen, the part with where it says bachelor's degree in public administration and management. I know that when we went through the process early on, when we were rating them, if they had a master's, we really used that as a big point of points for them, so that we did look at it as you're saying, where not required, but obviously a master's would be a good thing type of deal. So yeah, if we could rewrite that so that appears that way, that I don't see an issue with it.
I would actually like to propose, yes, some language changes to the minimum qualifications. Certainly we'll be sending you a final copy of the changes made to all documents here, but under minimum qualifications, I would say that a required qualifications would be a bachelor's degree in public administration management or related field and 5 years of experience in management, public administration, business administration or related field, or any equivalent combination of that formal preparation or substantial experience which provides the requisite knowledge and abilities for this position. And then under desired qualifications, that's what I think is perfect. Desired qualifications includes a master's degree in a related field and a strong background in accounting and human resource management.
I like it.
Comfortable? Okay. Wonderful.
Yeah. What else we got to talk about?
Well, we talked about the profile, so we're going to make some changes there. We talked about the job description, making some changes to the minimum qualifications. The salary information that I provided in your packet is simply just for information. I know that a lot of our cities just like to see how they, stack up to other communities, and so we've pulled this information from the League of Minnesota Cities salary survey. You've likely maybe seen this already, but this just kind of shows that your proposed range, which was shared with me, is right in line with where we see other communities with similar population and in areas throughout the state. So I'm just simply sharing this. Nothing's really needed from this other than just for your review.
Okay.
Then the last item is the proposed search timeline. So that was in your packet as well. You'll see that there are 3 yellow highlighted dates. Those are the dates that just simply require council participation. And so we have one of those dates. We already have that checked off. That's tonight. The next time that I will need your attention or your action is at your April 14th council meeting. That's where you'll be selecting finalists. And then May 6th, if that date looks good for you, then that would be your proposed interview dates. I just was hoping that you had a chance to take a look at your calendars, make sure that these dates fit, because these will be the days that we use within our advertisement, and these will be the dates that your finalists will have reserved in their calendars as well.
I don't have any problems with either of those, any of those dates. They work for me.
Okay, so yeah, the dates are fine with me as well. So you want to get this thing to get full approval because you want to start posting this position after we leave tonight. Would that be correct, the way we're looking at this?
Starting tomorrow, correct? Yep.
Okay, so you're gonna basically be looking for a motion to move forward with everything we discussed in the changes tonight.
Correct.
I think we could probably do it. We have it, it's listed as about 4 items, but it's really 1 item, isn't it, at this point? I don't see unless the council has a problem, we pretty much have a roadmap right now what to do, and she wants to get it posted. I wanted to get it posted. We didn't have,
Mayor?
Eileen's got a lot of work to do. So,
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Marty.
I would propose changing the salary range from 85,000 to 115,000 maximum rather than 100,000, commensurate with experience. I saw some cities in there even smaller than ours that were in the $110,000, $115,000 range. Not saying that's where we'll end up, but I think we shouldn't restrict our candidates just based on top end salary. I would propose that we increase the top range to 115.
Yeah, Marty, when I looked at them ranges earlier tonight, I thought the same thing. So I'm glad you mentioned it too. I thought we might be a little low, that we could go up another 10 to 15 higher. Just like you said, it opens up the it just opens up the candidate list a little bit more. Yeah, and you're if you find just a rock star, then that's you're not paying too much money. They make you that money. So I would be. How's the rest of the council feel about that?
I agree. Hey, Bill, you want to make 115?
It's like, I would have stayed for that. Just kidding. So what do we need for, Liza, what do we need? Just a motion to allow you to proceed with the changes we discussed tonight and get the process started?
That is a perfect motion.
Council,
I'll make the motion. I'll make the motion.
Second.
Who made that, Adam?
Travis.
Motion made by Travis, seconded by April. Council, any further discussion? Let's go get an administrator. Margaret?
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Mikola Raha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Baki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. And that motion passes. So Liza, we're going to turn you loose with the green light here.
If you don't mind, I do have one just brief discussion. We don't have to get deep into the weeds on this. But as part of the memo, I did throw out a few ideas for what your interview day could look like. So I just kind of wanted to get an idea on what your must-haves would be for your dream interview day. And then I will come back to you on April 14th with a draft interview schedule that will make it a lot easier for you to approve or change as needed. So as part of that memo, I mentioned items such as a city tour, lunch with your leadership staff and your council, individual interviews with each council member, a community meet and greet event, leadership staff formal interview, the full council formal interview, and then we're also open to any other ideas if there's something that's of interest to you.
Let me read through that. Most of them we've never done in this town, so it's kind of taking me back a little bit.
And
So how-
I was gonna say, and if you're not ready to talk about it, at least this gets you to thinking. So when we come back on April 14th, we can finalize it then as well.
I will say that I like the leadership staff meet and greet and the council interview. I think we decided on that. But I like the meet and greet with the city hall workers.
And I like the city tour, Mr. Mayor, and even just getting to know the candidates. You know, a lot of cities do this. So I think that this is great.
Liza, how do, like in this situation, how do you do a city tour? You bring all the candidates in one day and you take them on a city tour and then we do our interview process after? Or?
So yes, and COVID obviously changes things, but when there's no COVID, I mean, yes, it's throw everybody on a bus and it's your community cheerleader, because you have to remember they're interviewing you as well. So you really want to sell your community and show off what's amazing about your community and your organization. So putting them all together, inviting the council, it's an opportunity for you to observe how the candidates interact with each other and what kinds of questions that they ask. And then following the tour, that's usually where, yes, we'll incorporate some type of activity with your leadership staff. And then we close out the day or the process with those full panel interviews. Your panel interviews, they typically take about 45 minutes with each candidate. They'll have about 18 or 19 questions. Then after your interviews, I would gather feedback from your leadership staff and share that with you as the council. And then after that, then you go right into discussion and deliberation. I know that may sound a little overwhelming, but up until that interview day, you're going to have a lot of information about these candidates. So you'll have a really good feel for who your candidates are even before you meet them on interview day. That interview day just kind of cinches the deal. I'd like.
Council, what do you think about throwing this on like one of our March meetings and have a little further discussion on how we want to do that, that interview process? I think that'd be a fun little discussion. We'll kind of narrow that down for Liza. So when we get that April meeting, we know what to tell her.
Yeah, add it to the working session.
No, I don't want to do it then. That's next week. I don't even have time to look at it. Let's do that one of our meetings, like our first meeting in March or something.
Works for me.
How about we do that? And then we can get some feedback. If we do, and then when we kind of come up with what we think, then she'll have it a couple weeks early for that March meeting or that April meeting. She'll actually almost a month early then. So she'll know what we're expecting. So is that all right, Liza?
That sounds wonderful.
Perfect. Anything else we need to do?
Question.
Go ahead, Marty.
So April 6th are video interviews with the city council? Or is it with DDA?
So 1 week before that meeting on April 14th, you'll receive an email package from me, which will include clickable links to each of your semifinalists. In the comfort of your home, you'll be able to review their cover letter, their resume, video interview responses. So they'll answer 5 to 6 questions. They get 90 seconds to answer that question. And then you'll also receive a copy of their work personality strengths, as well as a disclosure statement. So if there's any potential red flags that they feel that you should know about, that is their opportunity to disclose that. So you'll review all that information. And then when we come together on the 14th, I will ask each of you, who are you interested in getting to know better? And so then we'll go around the room and we'll determine those that receive basically the most votes of who you're most interested in. Those are the ones that we naturally invite for interviews. And then those that, nobody has expressed any interest, then they're not even going to receive an invitation. So it's a long-winded answer to answer your question, but it is a pre-recorded video interview that they do in their comfort of their home. It shows you as a council how they it shows you a piece of their personality, I guess, and it shows how they think on their feet, because the interview question that they receive pops up on the screen. They have 60 seconds to gather their thoughts. The camera automatically turns on, and they have 90 seconds to produce a well-versed answer. So, yeah.
This is an interesting process. I wouldn't in my wildest imagination believe how much involved it is. It is quite, it's quite interesting actually. It's fun. Fun process.
Thank you.
Council, anything else before we let Liza go? Enjoy the rest of her night. Since it's 8:00. Thank you, Liza. We'll talk then. We'll take up the whole interview thing a little bit in our next meeting, and we'll kind of get some ideas on what we want to do that day.
Sounds wonderful. Thank
Do
you,
you need a
everybody. Have a wonderful evening.
What's that, April?
You need a motion, Mr. Mayor?
No, because we did have the motion. Did we vote on it yet? Ever move forward? We did. So you got the green light. No, we don't need anything else. We're good. She's got the green light to get us some candidates. And Margaret will just note that we're going to talk about that at the next meeting. So we'll move on. Thank you, Liza. You have a great night. I'm not sure what happened. She's gone. She left. Okay, we'll move on. That was easier than we thought. Okay, 4, 5, 6, 7. They turned into 1. All right, last item. We appointed somebody to the police commission. Turns out, had he known that somebody else was applying, he wouldn't have taken a job. He was only taking it if he was the only one. So recommendation tonight would be to appoint Mr. Jim Vukad, to the police commission.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Mayor, to appoint James Vukad to the police commission.
Okay, is there a second? Supported by, I don't know. Okay. Any other discussion? Margaret?
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Michelaraha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Vaki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. Okay, that motion carries. I'm going to give Bill the floor. He wanted to say goodbye to everybody, I think. And I know I certainly appreciate it. I'd give him the floor for an hour if he wants. Bill?
Mr. Mayor, and it took the words out of my mouth. To do justice to what I would like to say, it probably would take upwards of an hour. And if I start mentioning names, I'm going to miss somebody. But it's been a 2.5-hour meeting, and I know people want to be done. But I just like to take a few moments to the citizens of Chisholm, the business community, the clubs, the organizations, to the past councils, the current councils, to the department heads, all my co-workers, as I look at as partners. It's been an honor and privilege for me to serve you in the capacity of city administrator. I wish the community nothing but the best. There's a definition of the word success that most people don't apply to the word success, but there is a definition of success that states that you're successful if you help each other. And I do wish all of you much success in not only that regard, but I feel Chisholm is poised for a very, very bright future. And again, it's been an honor and privilege to work with each and every one of you. Thank you for all your support. Couldn't have done it without all of you. It takes a team effort. I care deeply about each one of you. You all know that you can reach out to me going forward, and be happy to help out any way I can for as long as you have questions for me. So much success to all of you, the city of Chisholm, and thank you very much. It's been an honor and a privilege.
Thank you, Bill. Same right back at you. Everything you said. You're a hard worker. You're a very hard worker, and I certainly appreciate you. Everything you did for me, between the council meetings, and council. Anything else to say to Bill?
Thank you, Bill. Pretty sure I saw you parked at City Hall on this Sunday. All the way to the last minute. Appreciate all the work that you've done and the guidance and all the committees that we've sat in with you on, and the hiring committees. You definitely taught me a lot. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Bill. A big, as new counselor in 2018, man, you've taught me a lot of things. So I am very grateful for that. And you were one heck of an administrator, and there's nobody that will replace you. But we'll do the best that we can. So thank you.
Appreciate the kind words, Counselor. Thank you.
So, Council, under miscellaneous, I just want to bring up, I'll read you something here. Sometimes you have these meetings day in and day out. Sometimes it doesn't feel like that many things get done. So we got another one that got done. And we got a letter from Dan Marich, President, Trail Administrator of Path Blazers Snowmobile Club the other day. Part of the letter was he's looking for his refund now that the building's done. But good morning, Mayor, City Administrator, Treasurer. I'm writing with pride as we have completed our new building in its entirety. Everything is complete, and building and housing official Manny Galley has inspected the project and has issued our certificate of occupancy. I'll skip through the payment part of it. On behalf of the club, we want to again thank all of you, the City Council, Larry Folstead, and your staff for helping us achieve our goal and dream of having our own club building. We're happy and proud to have our base in Chisholm. Make it a safe day. We look forward to hearing from you, Dan. So nice to hear that back. Every building we build helps too. So great club, great to have them part of it. And I think they're doing some things with the ATV club as well. So good partnership there. A lot of friends involved in the group. So there's one more win we'd like to hear about. So keep going. Council, anything else under miscellaneous for next meeting? If there's not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Adam.
So the Northeast Minnesota Mine Tour Project. The city's on the hook for $1,000 for the city of Chisholm. The city's on the hook for $1,000 for the Museum of Mining. And the city's also on the hook for, incorporating with the Bruce Head Frame and the Minnesota Discovery Center. Do we want to ask the Discovery Center if they have anything that they might want to help chip in with that, for that, cover that donation?
Mr. Mayor, if I can speak to that.
Go ahead, Stephanie.
I have sent over that information to the Discovery Center, and I can touch base with them to see what their opinion is on that, Adam.
Perfect, thank you.
Hey, Adam, we were talking about $2,000 when we had the discussion. I think I might have upped it to $3,000 on accident, but I told Stephanie, Eileen reprimanded us last year. I don't know if you remember that, and told us we need to stay within our budgets a little bit. And now that she's the boss, I really took that to heart. And I sent them both an email the other day, and I said, I'm all in favor of doing this, but it sure sounds good if you guys tell me you found it somewhere in the budget instead of I'm just spending it out of the bank. And they assured me they're going to try to come up with the $3,000 if we don't get it somewhere else without.
It'll be well worth it either way. I just thought if, at least didn't hurt to ask.
Yep. No, that's a good discussion too. Obviously the main point of it is to get people to stop in Chisholm and hopefully come into town as well once they stop. So that's a pretty small pay if we get the half a dozen people even a year to stop in Chisholm, because it's going to be forever. So anything else, Council? If not, let's go home. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor?
Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah.
Just quickly to piggyback off what you said about the Snowmobile Club, and they're so thankful for what Chisholm has done for them, and they want to be a good community partner. They are working with the fire department to get the ambulance rescue sleigh down there and have the fire department be able to use their utility snowmobile in case there's any accidents either at the Redhead Mountain Bike Club or even, in the area. So they wanted to make sure they were a partner with us in all aspects. And like I said, they're working with our EMS and fire folks to do that. So volunteering their services and equipment. So they've stepped up to the plate in more ways than one.
Great news, sir. Thank you for that. Anything else, council? If not, motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second. Motion by Adam, second by April. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any nays? All right, our meeting is adjourned. Everybody have a great night. Bill, we love you, buddy.
Yes. Love and miss you. Love and miss you, Bill. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service, Bill.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you all.
Thanks from the fire department, Bill.
Thank you.